All right. Hello, ladies and Aaron. Welcome to today's episode of Unpremeditated, the small corner of the internet, where each week Danielle and I, and also today Tina,
Yay, Tina,
share our unabridged, unscripted, and unpremeditated thoughts with the World Wide Web.
she scammed us all. Anyways, today we will be talking about Henry VIII and his 6 incredible wives.
Yay.
Love them all.
Wow.
You sound so tired.
I'm so tired.
Me too.
Miss Mosglaw came in and was like, "Did you get sleep?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "You look like you didn't sleep." And I was like, "Thanks, Miss Mosglaw."
We just got back from break, so that's going to be my excuse as to why I'm like this.
Oh, I slept from
I'm just like this.
7 so 12 hours, and my brain's confused as to what to do with
Every
it.
day I went to bed at like 1 a.m, and I slept until noon the next day.
Yeah.
So
like during winter breaks, I went to
about
sleep
right.
at like 5 a.m. because I kept drinking tea and I kept waking up late, and then my sleep cycle was like, let's just go the other way.
Yeah.
So I slept at like 5 a.m. and then woke up at like 1, and my mom
wide
was like,
awake at
my mom was like,
3 in the
so
morning.
have you done work? I'm like, yes, I have done work. I'm sitting at my desk, aren't I?
We still haven't started the episode
Do
yet.
it.
Okay,
It's up to
hold
you.
on.
You're running this episode.
Okay,
Okay.
let's talk.
Live your best life.
Wow.
Okay, so Henry VIII was one of the first English rulers from the House of Tudor, which is still around right now, which is slightly concerning.
Bro, they had to.
So he was not the original Henry. That goes to Henry VII. There's a lot of Henrys.
There's a lot
of Edwards, a lot of Louis. They all named their kids the same thing.
Yep.
Basically. But he was not brought up to be the ruler of England. He was supposed to be, he's the second born. So the firstborn, which is his brother Arthur, was supposed to be the king, but then he died. So then Henry had to step up. But Henry was originally educated in like art, church, mainly church.
Comes back later.
That's important. That comes back later.
That's important.
But so Arthur had been basically, this is the first one.
Arthur was actually trained in politics.
Yeah,
Henry
Arthur was
for
actually
sure not.
He was the one that was supposed to do all the jobs. But Arthur was betrothed to Catherine of Aragon. Remember, England's still Catholic at this point. And Catherine
Seemed to change.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, Catherine was the daughter of Ferdinand and Isabel of Spain.
Yes.
So she inherited Aragon.
Yeah.
That's why she goes by Catherine of Aragon, because there's going to be another Catherine that shows up a couple years later. Anyways, so when Arthur died and the throne gets inherited to Henry, who is Catherine going to marry? So Catherine gets betrothed to Henry because he's next in line, and the Spanish family still wants to have connections to the English throne. Anyways, so he inherits the throne at age 17 and marries Catherine.
Fat mistake.
But, like, you know that saying, like, you need to have an heir and a spare? Yeah,
Oh
it's
my god,
weird.
what?
Yeah,
I've
it's
never
like
heard
a
that.
sad
Well, that's fair though, because isn't that the
You
whole
need
thing?
air and- I mean, it
like,
makes
demographic
sense.
Yeah,
transition.
it
They were
makes
like, if you
sense.
die, I have some others.
Well, guess what? There's someone
Yeah.
else to take over. I just never knew that.
Yeah, and
Dang.
I don't think it's, like, a common saying, but, like, in history, it's always, like, an heir and a spare is what you need.
It's valid.
Yeah.
I just have never heard
You
it
need
before.
an extra, right?
You do need it. You need at least 2 extras, honestly. At this
Yeah.
point in history, you need
Yeah,
like,
you need, like, the black
You need
plague,
all the kids.
syphilis, all coming
People
to attack
ready
us
to
all.
assassinate you.
Yes,
You need
anyways.
lots of space.
But that's where all the interesting stuff comes in from.
Fact.
Anyways.
True.
But so he really wants a son and a, like, extra son, right?
Oh,
so,
and she, like, can't have a son, right?
yeah,
Or she
because it's
tried
some
and she couldn't have a
issue
son.
with, like, Catherine and, like, she's, like, miscarriages, fun stuff, because I think it's, like, a part of, like, her family history is, like, very, like, inbred, or his family's really
I
inbred,
didn't
or
know
both
that.
of them are very inbred, so, like, things happen when
Not
you not
work out.
Things happen when you marry your second cousin.
Yeah.
And so she does give birth to a son.
Oh, she does? Okay.
Yeah, she does. She had a lot of miscarriages, and then when she was like 23, she had her first son. But he died 52 days later or 50-something days later, because he had a stomach infection.
Oh, no.
I forget what it is, but I think it's from when they clean out the baby after they're born. The water wasn't clean.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's like the water wasn't clean or something like that, and so he had
stomach
a lot of
infection.
infections, or he had a couple infections around the like part where they cut off your belly button.
Yeah.
The part where they cut
That
off
was the
umbilical
umbilical cord.
Yeah, I can't remember the name. Yeah. Anyway, so that's like he died 52 days later.
Oh dang. Rest in peace.
Catherine actually gave birth to like a lot of like kids, but they all died really early.
Yeah.
But she also had a lot of miscarriages.
I knew about the miscarriages.
Yeah. So in the end, she only has one daughter that survives all the way, and that is Mary, the infamous Bloody Mary.
Yes.
In the future she becomes Bloody Mary.
Yes.
Anyways, and so Mary. Side note, kind of important later, but
I don't know
Mary.
who was knocking. All right, keep talking.
Some people just walked in.
We're talking about Henry VIII, guys, and his wives, and how he ruined everything.
Yeah. Anyways, so Mary is Catholic, like her mother. At this time, Henry's also Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so at this point, they've been married
Was
for...
Bloody Mary the one who was like had that big beef with Elizabeth I and then eventually
Yeah,
died?
because they're siblings.
Okay, great. I got it.
Anyways,
Keep going.
so Mary, no, where am I going? Catherine, at this point, they've been married for 24 years. Catherine is, do the math, around 43. She's entering menopause, which, by the way, is very impressive for a woman at this time and age.
Honestly, she should have been dead already.
Yes. If
Let's
we're being
be real.
honest.
If we're being honest, she should have been dead already.
So, Henry realizes he can't have any more children, sons in specific, so he starts turning around, looking for other women.
Let's have.
He already has a
another
couple
wife.
illegitimate children.
Oh,
And that's
like
where Jane...
too many.
That's where Jane Grey and the whole lineage issue later on comes into play. Like always. He couldn't keep it in his pants. Anyways, so he looks around and he meets Anne Boleyn.
Wow, Anne Boleyn.
Anne
Beautiful,
Boleyn.
ideal candidate.
Honestly, she's my favorite of his wives.
Oh,
she's,
me too.
She's so... Her whole thing, she's so smart.
She
got her head
she
beheaded.
Knew exactly
she
what
got
she
beheaded,
was doing.
but like she was really smart.
I thought
Anyways,
they all
so
got beheaded.
Aloha.
one survived.
Oh.
Yeah.
two died, 2 got beheaded, and 1 survived. Am I doing that, Matt? No, that's 5. Oh, 2 divorced, 2 beheaded.
What's the rhyme? There's a limerick for it, and I always forget.
I forget, but he has 6 wives. 4 of them, died.
I remember that one survived and
Yeah.
moved into a
Catherine
house with
Parr.
her best friend.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. What's her name?
Catherine Parr. That's
Okay,
the
I'm
second
never gonna
Catherine.
remember
That's why
that.
there's one Catherine of Aragon and the one that...
At the end of this, y'all should rank
Gazelle.
his wives.
What?
We should what?
At the end of this, y'all should rank his wives.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Oh, yes.
But we already know
I'm
Anne
not gonna
Boleyn's
lie,
one.
that
Period.
wife, there's like rumor. Anyways,
Just
Anyways,
get
we'll
through
bring-
it, because then they can form their own ranking.
Yeah, we'll bring it up later on. Anyways, so Anne Boleyn was raised in the French court. So she's not originally, or she is English, but she was raised in the French court because, connections. She's also like not the firstborn daughter, so that's partially why she got sent away.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like
Yeah.
if you're a daughter,
That checks out.
you got limited options. So she was sent out to the French court, and she became Catherine of Aragon's lady in waiting, or at least one of them.
So was her lady in waiting.
Yeah.
That's so scandalous. Oh my god. Wait a minute.
I
Oh my
never
God.
really knew what the purpose of
Just, like,
waiting and
sleeping
waiting.
with
I have an
them.
idea. It's like a glorified like maid.
Basically.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also supposed
Yeah.
you're supposed to protect the person in social situations as well.
Yeah.
Like if
Oh,
you can
yeah.
tell someone's having a mental breakdown, you're like, let's go do something else. And like
Yeah,
You
but
also have to do
Yeah.
no actual maid stuff. You you
you
maybe
just-
help her get
you're
dressed.
like
and
her
Yeah,
paid,
and that's
her
it.
paid friend.
Yeah.
basically.
yeah.
Anyways,
Great friends.
so Henry starts having an affair with Anne of Boleyn. He really wants to
Naturally.
like have children with her, but she knows that if her children are born out of wedlock, they will not be able to inherit the throne.
Correct.
So she goes, "Hey, if you want to marry me or like have sex with me, you gotta divorce your other wife and marry me." So,
Yeah.
but of course, Roman Catholicism at this time doesn't allow
Not gonna let that
divorce.
happen.
So, partially because Catherine of Aragon is also from a really powerful Catholic family,
Yeah.
and the Church, world history, is losing a lot of power at this time. So, Henry's like he asked the Pope for permission. Also, coincidence, the Pope is a family member of Catherine's.
Yeah.
So that
that
also
in
may
mind.
play a role. But like, he asked for a chance to divorce. The Pope says no, and so what Anne Boleyn does is she convinces Henry to reject the Catholic faith and join the Protestant movement.
Because they will let him do whatever he wants.
And so he sets up the Church of England, says divorce is legal, and he divorces Catherine of Aragon.
And at the same time, somehow, the Catholic Church.
Yeah, because he like separates them. And so he becomes the head of the Church of England, which is very impressive. And Anne did it.
Terrible, but very impressive.
Yeah. It's all because of Anne.
Yeah.
Anyways, but it's also like a lot of wealth. So Anne, there's also kind of a selfish turn at this. I mean, the whole thing's kind of selfish. He divorced someone, but it's not. He didn't only separate from the church to get a divorce. I mean, that's kind of a major factor. Mm-hmm. But of course, a lot of the nobles in his court are still Catholic. Like, you can't just change the religion of a whole country, which will come up later in a lot of revolutions. But Henry VIII, what he did to calm down these nobles was that a knock?
That was so aggressive.
Anyways, but what he did was when he separated from the church, all like the church lands, like Westminster.
Pause.
Okay.
I know it's I don't think it is Andrew, but
Don't be loud.
You can hear you on the microphone.
I don't care.
It's lovely. We're having a lot of.
Where's it coming from? And you're going, I don't know, probably a ghost.
so probably. Can we actually soundproof just that wall? You know, get those foam cone thingies.
I'd be down.
That would be great. I would do it. I wouldn't spend time doing it.
The reason people got these because cushion stuff absorbs sound better.
Yeah.
That's what she's saying.
They're too loud, and it's not gonna absorb that much.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll do something.
They're obnoxious adolescent boys.
You're an obnoxious adolescent boy.
That's how I know.
It was too easy.
Oh my god.
Okay.
That was so unnecessarily aggressive.
I just remember something. Okay, so Henry VIII goes to the Pope, and I remember what his argument was. He said that you can't marry your brother's widow, and because Arthur, his older brother, was betrothed.
Wait, you can't marry your brother. Okay.
There's some verse in the Bible that says you can't marry your brother's wife. Or something like that. You can't have sex with your brother's wife. Or something like that.
I mean,
there's if the brother is dead, the Bible, there's a scripture like Deuteronomy or something like that. Early
She's
Bible.
bringing up the historical
I
facts.
am. Congratulations. Where it's if your brother's dead, then you're obligated to marry her because otherwise she would be a widow and be poor.
Anyways, but he is trying his best to argue he needs to divorce Catherine.
Needs to divorce.
But there was something. Okay, so anyways, he brings up that argument. The Pope's no, that's not actually how it works. I'm sure he brought up the actual scripture, knowing the Pope.
Because his argument would be wrong.
Yeah. He, goes through this whole thing. He said, Anne's you need to separate from the church, become Protestant. He does, but in doing so, he also acquires a lot of the former church wealth that he gives away to the nobles to calm them. So, all the abbeys, the monasteries, that all have all this really rich gold that formerly were belonging to the Catholic Church are now his. Because what's the church gonna do? They can't march across the water.
No.
They can't just
what
show
army?
up.
You mean the army that I own?
Yeah. So Westminster Abbey probably used to be part of the Catholic Church.
Oh,
and
but it's such a pretty building.
I think you have an idea of what Westminster Abbey looks like. It's so beautiful.
Yes, Camille.
I went.
You did go? It's so. I didn't get to go in though, because that was they were shutting it down for maintenance.
Yeah.
Because it was the steeples were falling apart.
It was funny because everyone on the trip was wait, I can't go in there with my shorts and my spaghetti strap tank top.
I brought clothes specifically to from for Sunday service because I've heard the whole thing is very beautiful, and we couldn't go in because there was no the mass was being held in a separate sector from the main thing because the steeps were under maintenance.
I love that the part that's mostly open is the gift shop. So then it's you go, you see maybe nothing, and then you go to the gift shop, and then you.
My mom went, but that was when the marriage, Harry and Meghan.
Oh, Harry and Meghan.
So
she went with
the whole thing.
Married?
She didn't go there on purpose, but she was I
would have gone on purpose.
I FaceTimed her.
I watched that whole wedding. I got up at 8 a.m. and watched their wedding. That's the only wedding I watched. I was ready for that wedding, guys. I was so ready. I didn't even care
kind
about
of
William's
mad that
wedding.
I couldn't see it, but at the same time I was whatever.
Yeah,
but it's okay. Anyways, where were we? Anne Boleyn. He becomes Protestant. He gets all the riches, and then he marries Anne. Remember, the condition was because he thought Anne would be able to have a son.
Yeah.
Anne doesn't have a son.
Oh no.
She repeatedly has daughters.
Of course.
That's hilarious.
Which is not good because her whole condition was she would be able to give birth to a son. and she didn't. So that presents some
Time
issues.
to behead.
So
He's like,
Harry-
you can't give me some.
Yeah.
To kill her.
Henry's like, okay, I waited all this time to have a daughter. By the way, the daughter that survives all the like diseases in childhood is Elizabeth, which becomes
first. Let's go.
Elizabeth I, which is, if you don't know, the Virgin Queen of England.
The Virgin Queen with the beautiful
That's a
golden
pow-
hair.
Red.
Really?
She's
Is it red?
Yeah.
Is she the lady
In the
with the
drawing,
scary
it
dress
looks
with the
gold.
eyeballs?
Yeah,
Yes,
it does.
She's a scary
it
dress with the
does.
eyeball. I'm so proud of you, Camille.
She's the one that has the whole huge fringe,
big-
looks super pale in all her portraits.
Like
She does
her,
look very
her
pale.
goal in
I
the
thought it
portrait
was
seems
gold.
She kind of
crazy
had like a
people.
receding hairline, but
She
like
had a
we're
very
not gonna
far
hate on
back
that because
hairline.
she is a queen. She literally is a queen.
I showed
Anyways.
Camille her dress with the scary eyeballs on it, and I love that dress so much.
Her portrait is like, let's just, you think you're crazier than me?
Think you're crazier than me?
She's
Let's
such
go.
she's such a goal.
Oh, I
Anyways,
love her.
so Henry. I keep thinking Harry. Henry. I'm like Henry. No, Henry. So
There's
Henry.
too many British Harrys that would
Yeah,
apply to.
yeah,
like,
I know.
oh god.
Henry tries. Okay, so Henry's really mad that he doesn't have sons, and he's like entering his 30s. Of course, guys don't have menopause, so they can just keep having children.
Right.
But, you know, as they age, it's like well
It's
known
still
that as
harder.
you age, it's harder to have
It's
kids.
still
So
harder.
he knows that. Or he has
That's not how it works. That's not how it works at all.
no, but like as like men age, it becomes
Like, yeah.
You don't have menopause, but it still decreases
No.
in likeliness
Like,
that you can
it's,
have a
you
child.
decrease in likeliness, but
yeah, no, but I was
mean,
like,
you're
men
still-
don't
you're
have
still, like-
menopause,
yeah,
so they can't
like-
just like they can't just stop having children. Period.
Okay.
yeah,
but,
there's
like-
still the ability to have kids. It's
Yeah,
less
but, like,
likely,
it's
but
less
you still have
likely
the
for-
ability to have
I'm
children.
sorry. I know I'm not a part of this episode or whatever, but look. I know I cannot have children. I can't give birth.
Okay, you know what, Dan?
I
You know
know
what?
I do know what.
That's not what we.
Yes, you are going to give birth,
I
obviously.
understand what you mean, but for the sake, I'm sorry.
You wanted to
I
know.
saw a fatal error and just I had to stray.
Thanks.
They meant that they could still like.
He knows exactly what we
I know
meant. He knows exactly what we meant and decided to say that
Don't make
anyways.
this awkward. I have to go through and edit this. Oh no. Anyways, but so he knows this or has an idea of it because science is not quite that good yet. So he tries to come up with a reason to divorce her, but like he left the church of the Roman Catholic Church to marry her. So it'd be really bad if he divorced her as well. So what he does is he comes up with a variety of reasons to argue that she needs to be beheaded. He comes up, or not him, but like his advisors, him probably as well, come up with a variety of reasons. They say she has a sixth thumb, which is like the sign of a witch. They say
It's also something you don't want.
Can't
They
you just
say-
like look at someone's
yeah.
hands and see if they have
They
an
say-
extra thumb or
They
not?
say
Like,
she like
okay.
committed adultery in marriage. They say she committed incest with her brother and her
Ew.
close guy friend. They both get beheaded, her brother and her closest
Naturally.
childhood friend. And she gets sent to the Tower of London and eventually, as the legend goes, gets beheaded. Mercy was the person that beheaded her was an expert knife chopper guy. So she didn't have to suffer from like the blunt axe, which
Oh, okay.
that's
I was
nice.
confused as to where you
Yeah,
were
sometimes
going
they
with
would
Yeah.
try to behead people
yeah,
and,
and
it
then
would like kind of only work.
wouldn't go all the way. It would like
And then
go
they would be
halfway, and then they have to go
excruciating
again.
pain for
yeah,
10
so that
seconds.
was like
Yeah.
his mercy was he gave
A
her
nice-
like,
a
a nice,
good- a
good
good
clean instead of
clean
like
cut. Got
just
you.
like hacking away. Anyways, so after this, he of course is during this whole time when she's Anne is in the Tower of London. Henry's already looking out for potential
he needs
otherwise,
a son.
right?
So,
He needs a son.
Needs a son.
And he meets this girl in court, Jane Seymour.
Wow. A
Of
true
course,
queen.
she's the only one that wins his affection by giving him a son, Edward.
Yeah.
But she dies in childbirth, so their marriage doesn't really last that long, maybe 2 or 3 months, or more than that. 2 or 3 months
That's pretty
after
much
she
what I
gives
thought.
birth.
After she gives birth, yeah.
After she gives birth, because
She gets an infection or something, right?
Infection from the placenta or something.
Okay.
Whatever. Medical terms.
Healthcare, my dude.
Healthcare.
Anyways, but
Very
yeah, it was,
important.
of course, yeah, so she dies during childbirth. Of course, Henry's is very thankful, and I say that in quotes. And so Jane, the special thing about Jane is she is the only one to get a royal funeral by decree of the king.
Oh.
So
I didn't know that.
her like Everyone else, like Anne's remains are in the Tower of London.
Yeah.
Catherine goes back to Spain, so she doesn't really get anything in England. Jane gets buried in the royal, what do they call it? The crypt. The royal crypt.
Okay.
Yeah, so her body
Like a
is
tomb
like,
sort of
yeah.
situation.
I was gonna say catacomb, but then I was like, no, catacomb is
It's
for
like
the
under
masses.
the city. And
Yeah, yeah, but she's the only one that gets a royal funeral. And so by this time, Henry is around his like late 30s, early 40s. He's kind of ugly, really obese.
Oh, he looks so gross.
Yeah,
like
so that iconic portrait of him with
he
that,
looks like Garfield, but a person.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not kidding. He looks nasty as hell.
we don't mean to body shame, but he's kind of ugly.
No, but like
he's really fat.
It's not like someone that like made an effort, and then it's like, this is the best I could do. In which case, go you do you. No, it's clear he's a disgusting person on the inside, and then didn't try at all to make himself look any better.
The best
Like, he
portrait
looks
of him
gross.
is that really iconic portrait with him and his really rich velvet. I think it's like the Dalmatian spot velvet. The one, yeah. And like
You
he
have to
looks
kill
really
4,000
wide.
animals to get that coat.
He's really wide to say the least. It's like
huge.
when you look at him, you
Like-
can't imagine like going after him except maybe for his money, you know?
And,
Yeah.
like,
And
being
the
a
title.
queen.
And the title. But he's not that
Even
attractive. Even at the best. The portrait is like face.
You can't.
to-
It's not even a dad bod
Yeah.
argument. He's like just big.
really
I love
wide.
that she went, the portrait is face tuned. I'm like, bro, it was painted.
Yeah, no, but it looks like if that's like the best you can do is
but
that
yeah.
it gives you an idea of how ugly he was. Anyways, so his next wife is Anne of Cleves. There's a lot of Annes and Catherines.
He had it
He
tight.
marries so Anne of Cleves is supposedly really attractive.
Yes.
The
prettiest.
She's in Germany. Cleves is in Germany. So her father asked for a portrait to be painted of her.
Ooh.
Which is lovely. I don't remember the artist's name, but a lot of his portraits are really iconic, and they're all over the world in art museums, especially for historical figures.
Yeah.
He painted a lot of historical figures. That's
pretty
the
awesome.
important part. So he paints her. The portrait is lovely. The portrait gets shipped off to Henry in England. He pulls off a like early version of like Tinder and goes through their profile pictures. Basically. So he's like going and he sees Anne's portrait and he's like, she's really pretty. I want her. And so Anne of Cleves gets the message. She gets shipped off to England. This is where the funny part comes into play.
Oh, no.
Legend has it that Henry, of course he's king, so everybody's stroking his ego, still thinks he's really attractive. So he decides to dress up. This is legend. I don't know if it's actually true. He decides to pull off a Princess and the Pauper and dress up as a really poor person to greet her. Apparently, when Anne of Cleves was received by him and saw how he looked, she said he looked disgusting.
Yeah.
This is paraphrased, of course. I can't speak.
Basically.
So I don't know what he says. And so in return, he says, well, you look ugly too. And so, of course, he's king, so whatever he says goes. Yeah. So she gets basically shunned by court. Of course, she comes from a very traditional family, so she doesn't speak a lot of English, or like, she's basically illiterate. And she's German, so she doesn't know what's going on in the culture. So she's basically getting smack talked behind her back 24/7, every day, all the day. Court is like really mean to her. So eventually, because of that, he divorces her or his advisor advises him to divorce her, and they get a divorce. The nice thing is Henry actually allows Anne of Cleves to stay in court. She gets educated. She becomes a really powerful, or her brother actually becomes a really powerful rank in court because, women don't have rights at this time. Yeah.
Not at all. Okay.
He's still stuck without. He has an heir, Edward, but he doesn't have a spare. So Henry is still looking for like a woman to give him another son. And so
time to get another baby.
he finds. This is wife number 5, by the way, in case you lost count.
Thanks. I for sure did.
Yeah. He finds Catherine Howard, which is the second Catherine of 3. It's a lot. He has
too many, honestly.
Too many Catherines.
Oh, there's too many.
Why couldn't we have like an Olivia in here?
Honestly.
But Catherine Howard, she's not really royalty. She's nobility, but very low ranked. She's like the third daughter of one of the high-ranked generals in Henry's
Oh yeah,
army.
that's pretty low.
Yeah, so it's not noble, but like she's not blue-blooded, but she's like kind of up there. But in Catherine's childhood, she was raised in her aunt's household with a lot of other girls, but her aunt was always out on business or like court stuff, courtly stuff, fun stuff.
Naturally.
And so Catherine and all her girlfriends get left home alone a lot, and they're all adolescents at this time, so there's a lot of guys coming to and from the house.
Okay.
Basically, the house turns into a salon, basically, for guys. It's kind of like a gentleman's salon, if you get that reference.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, like, adultery and not good, holy stuff going on.
Okay.
And so...
I like how this lady's just letting it happen. Like, she's like,
yeah,
I'm out all the time.
She probably knows it's going on.
Yeah, she must know. Like,
Yeah, but so during this time, Catherine, she's 13, by the way, has numerous affairs with a lot of guys.
I'm sorry, what?
So her music teacher, which is...
That's like in 8th grade.
Yeah. That's what's so disturbing about it.
she's
But
13.
Her
I didn't know
music-
she was
yeah.
so young. This whole
Her
I mean, I'm not shocked.
Yeah, she
but,
was
like,
married to Henry when she was like 15.
That makes sense.
17.
But, like, I hate
But
that.
anyways, when she was
Ew,
13, she had an affair with her music teacher, who was 23.
Wow,
so that's kind
guys.
of really creepy.
Seems illegal.
Seems illegal.
They
They
had
have that weren't made yet.
They
but
had
still.
like a lot.
Weirdly, that hasn't gone away, and I kind of
Yeah.
hate that hasn't gone away.
Yeah,
Like,
they
why
have.
is that still a thing?
They have a lot of affairs throughout the years. She gets.
Is that while she's married to King Henry VIII?
No. This is way before.
Okay.
So that
and
was
then-
an affair.
Yeah, and so the aunt finds
They're
out.
just weirdly together.
Yeah, the aunt finds out about this whole affair thing. And then she's like, no, you can't do that. And so she ships
Oh,
Catherine.
now she's mad?
Yeah,
Oh
she
my
ships
God.
Catherine of Howard over to court in wherever King Henry is staying. London, I don't know. But she gets sent to court. And during this time, Henry, she's very flirtatious, of course.
Of course.
Because of all her personality aspects.
Of course.
He finds Catherine very attractive.
Of course.
And so he marries her.
Yeah.
As one
As one does.
does, naturally.
Naturally.
But of course, Catherine realizes she's here for the money and the title. But then she realizes she has to actually have a child with Henry. She doesn't find that particularly attractive.
Yep.
Henry, by this time, is very, like, temperamental. He's obese. He's ugly. Sorry, that was really mean. But he also, like, suffers from temper because of a leg wound, which, quite frankly, if you think about it, doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
But I guess
was gonna say.
I guess it
Okay.
would, because health isn't really, like, hygiene isn't really there at this time. This is the 1500s.
He's just
Yeah,
mad
no,
all the
but,
time.
but
'cause
like
his leg
temper
hurts.
is like you get mad a lot, right?
Yeah,
So
but
then
yeah.
it's like just because you have a
Anyways,
jack foot.
I think that's
But
just.
if you were in pain all the time, I would be
Yeah,
mad too.
that's-
I'd
And there's
kinda
like
be
not
upset.
really painkiller,
Yeah.
I would be upset.
But at the same time, I'm kind of like suspicious. This is just historians trying to cover up his.
Bad behavior.
Yeah. But so Catherine Howard starts an affair with one of the lowly commoners. that
Aw,
are
you
there.
can do better than that.
It's the
sis.
secretary of the treasury that she has an affair
No,
with.
sis.
Henry finds out, charges her for adultery, witchcraft, the whole works.
Everything.
She gets into the Tower of London, does not get a dignity clean swipe like Anne of Boleyn did, just gets the axe. Naturally, the two guys that she had an affair with, both
Also
before the marriage and during the marriage, the music teacher gets sent to Tower of London also.
Wait.
He gets his head
even know
chopped
she
off.
was
Why the
gonna be
music
clean
teacher?
Yeah,
Why
and,
the
yeah,
music
exactly.
teacher?
And the secretary, the commoner she had like an affair with during the marriage,
Look,
he
the
does not
secretary
get the
should've known it was
dignity
coming.
of beheading because he's a commoner. Instead, he gets quartered, which is where they.
They get the horses and then
yeah,
they
they
like.
Ordered?
Yeah.
Yikes.
I can't even imagine how
That's
I would rather
awful.
not imagine how that feels. But yeah, he
I
does
always
not.
wanted to see it.
I didn't. Oh no,
Camille, stop.
No, but like how? I can't even physically imagine what would happen. So like,
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
No.
Like to. I mean, I kind of get it, but no,
Camille
stop.
routinely wants to see gruesome things, and it's kind of scary.
I just,
I-
you never
just
see
to
anything
know.
like that. So
You
like,
don't
I
cut
just,
that.
Yes.
I just want to know.
No, don't do it. And then he marries Catherine Parr, which is the one that survives
The one
all
that-
of this.
Knows exactly what she's doing the whole time. I
Catherine
appreciate
Parr,
her confidence
yes,
so much.
She was. Catherine Parr was a widow at this point. She had been previously married twice.
Oh, I didn't know it was twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Twice. I think the first husband died in battle. Then she married.
I knew about that one.
Oh, Catherine Parr had previously been married twice. So her first husband, one of the husbands died in battlefield, and the second husband was just really old and crusty and died because he was old and crusty. So there is no doubt in Henry's mind that she's not a virgin, because like his mind was like, if you've been married twice, you probably had like.
At some point.
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's actually true, but that's what's going on through his head. He was like, she has to be like, she had children, like stepchildren. So I guess he thought that they were her actual children and that she would be able to give him another son. It never comes to that. The leg wound made him moody in his previous marriage takes over, creates some health issues. She takes care of him. She was amazing.
She was very
nice.
She was very nice.
Caring. He wasn't, but she was.
Yeah, he was terrible.
But eventually he dies on the toilet because he couldn't poop.
Craps himself.
Yeah. That's the funny part.
That's literally what it exactly.
Yeah. Anyways, so we're going to talk a little bit about after marriage, because Catherine Parr, after Henry dies, Catherine Parr is amazing. Remember, at this point, after Henry dies, Edward takes up the throne, the one that Jane Seymour gave birth to. Yeah. So the lineage continues. Mary and Elizabeth have some sisterly rivalry. Remember, Elizabeth's Protestant.
If you want to call it that.
Catherine's.
They had a straight up war. They
Mary's Catholic. That presents some issues. Lineage. Edward dies young, doesn't have any sons. Son's Jane Grey. Jane Grey gets executed. And then Mary takes over. Mary destroys everything in England by killing all the Protestants. That's why she's called Bloody Mary. And then Elizabeth's like, no, you can't do that. And then Elizabeth takes the throne. It's a whole thing. It's a whole nother episode.
It would take a whole other book just to
Anyways,
like Catherine from Scotland.
Mary,
Mary Queen of Scots is different. That's a different Mary.
I know, but there's so many Marys.
Too many. That's also
confused.
Mary Queen of Scots is before all of this. Is before this is.
She's another one I'd really like to talk about.
I know, she's pretty great.
Yeah. Anyways,
I only know what I know from like Reign and The Crown and freaking I don't know other.
I love The Crown.
Like those shows or Ekaterina on Amazon, and it's about Catherine the Great.
Yes.
There's too many Catherines in European history.
There's like way too many.
Catherine the Russian, Catherine of Aragon. Anyways, but Catherine Parr, she eventually marries Edward Seymour, who is Jane Seymour's brother.
Okay.
She was intended for Edward Seymour, or I don't know if Edward's his full name. I think so. But she was intended for Edward before she got married to Henry. Mm-hmm. When Henry got married to her, she was like, okay, we'll put this off. And then Henry dies, and so she's like, hey, marry me.
I'm back.
And so they get married. They get married. Elizabeth.
I saw it at the corner of my eye.
Elizabeth moves in with Edward and Catherine. Mm-hmm. There's a whole thing between Edward and Elizabeth I. We'll talk about that later because I love that.
I heard about that, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah,
so
I heard about it, but I don't know the details of it. We might do that as the next episode.
Yes, guys.
I love that. Anyways, but Catherine goes off and lives her happy life. Edward lives.
Camille looks upset.
Edward lives for like 5 years and then he dies. But yeah, that's the end of Henry and his 6 wives. All of them.
Camille, what is going on?
Camille's messing around here like a 5-year-old. Oh my god. Anyways, we're gonna rank our favorite wives now.
Yeah.
Cool, I'm here for this.
Okay.
Okay, I need to look up the way you're supposed to remember.
You want me to read it?
I only know the first 2 lines, but apparently there's way more. Okay, so I know the lines: divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived.
Yeah, that's the one they use in the musical.
I know, but apparently there's it's a whole thing. It's like a whole song. I only knew the first 2 lines.
They rewrote it. For the musical, it's
okay.
They
is
write
this the original?
I think this is the original, but the people who wrote it, based off.
And they redid it. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, so much fun.
Damn. All right. That's pretty awesome.
Let's rank it.
Let's rank.
Cool.
Anne Boleyn's my number 1 always.
Anne Boleyn, I respect her a lot.
Period.
She's pretty great.
She's amazing. I mean, she did lose her head, but
That's
she's
okay.
She's such a character. Her writings, we have her. She wrote a couple religious and philosophical works while she was in the Tower of London because they didn't just go to Tower of London. They had
she was there for years.
We had to wait for the French executioner to come over. They had to like talk about it. Henry was still having his affair, so he wasn't really focused on it.
Weirdly, there's a lot of red tape around killing people in the Tower of London. Like,
Yeah.
it takes forever, which is like, why?
Yeah, there's like this
why
whole
does
thing.
It? But it does.
She like managed to put it off by arguing that she wanted to like talk to the priest and make her amends with God, but you know full well that she was buying her time. Yeah, she like
I didn't know that.
had this whole thing. There's like a lot of records in like Protestant, like the priest's diary or whoever it was that she came to the Tower of London to see her. There's a lot that she like is talking about how she begs for God's forgiveness. During this whole time, she does write a lot of stuff. Like, she's an intellectual. Like she knows what she's doing. She writes a lot of stuff. She does have a couple books that have been published. Like her diaries. Yeah, they like have a lot of works on her.
How did I not know this?
A couple of the wives
she's
that
very
got
nice.
like I think who was it? Anne of Cleves also has a lot of books, but she survived, so that was like expected. But Anne Boleyn has a lot. She's just amazing.
She's really.
I love her.
She was ahead of her time, honestly.
Yeah.
She really was.
And she changed the religion of a whole country.
Like, damn. Still like that today.
I mean, I guess Henry did the technical changing, but like
let's be real. If
she
she hadn't suggested it, it would be Catholic today.
That's amazing.
Who wins second place?
My second place is The Last Wife.
Catherine Parr.
Yeah. I like her the most. Secondly, just because I feel like after he died, she did the most with her life and was she clearly was like, well, this kind of sucked, but I'm gonna
she
make
like
the most
clearly
of my life.
had it planned out.
She clearly had it planned out.
I think maybe Catherine of Aragon, just because.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, she didn't really do much as far as like intellectual work, but her like she did a lot of stuff in Spain in retaliation.
Ooh, did she really?
Yeah. So
Damn.
she didn't go back to her parents' house, Ferdinand and Isabel. She like had her own house in the countryside in Spain. Lovely. But her divorce with Henry causes the whole thing where the Spanish Armada tries to go overseas and attack Elizabeth I.
and then they like sink in the ocean.
Because Elizabeth I is like, let's just send burning
Guess what?
ships.
God, let's cause a storm, and then it
Yeah,
somehow
Spanish
happens.
Inquisition. She goes back to Spain, and I know the whole reason, like, Roman Catholic and Protestant have a lot of issues themselves, but the divorce Henry and Catherine had, and he switching to a Protestant kind of fueled that a lot, so I think she's amazing.
She's pretty great.
Her
agree with
fashion
that.
sense was also really impeccable. All her portraits. Hold on, you guys.
I gotta see a picture. I do. Send me a picture.
She, like, loved the...
Oh wait, I've seen that first.
It's kind of meme-ish.
This
Her,
is
like,
the one I know.
her fashion's kind of
This
meme-ish.
one is the one I know.
I love it. She, like, looks like a meme.
I haven't seen this one.
She does look like a
That is very.
But like her
meme-ish looking.
fashion is impeccable. Like the dress. Okay, maybe not the hair thing because she's
Oh,
like
this
wearing
was
cloth.
Catherine of Aragon.
Yeah.
I've seen this one too.
Catherine of Aragon. Look
I don't
at
think
that.
I ever realized who that was.
Yeah,
I like this dress.
she looks beautiful.
This is a really pretty dress.
The dress is wonderful. I wonder if the dresses actually look like that in real life or they just painted it like that. Like
No, that's legit.
that looks.
That's legit.
I would wear that. Maybe not acceptable nowadays, but I would wear that.
There's a lot of oldie timey dresses that I for sure would wear.
Yeah, but I can't because
Like-
it's not socially acceptable.
Yeah, like I wouldn't like
people would attack me because
Give
they're
her
like,
the
"Do you
right-
know the historical context behind it?" I'd be like, "Yeah, but it's really pretty."
But it's so pretty.
Yeah, I'm like,
Actually,
I'd wear Marie Antoinette's dress if I could.
I
but
would
like
do
at
it.
the same time, it's like way
Yeah,
expensive.
I know. Like
And like historical context.
people died for this dress, but I would wear it. Like
Yeah. Anyways, third rank
I'm like
Wait, okay, so which
This
one?
is
So
where I-
second is Catherine of Aragon?
for me. For her, it's
Yeah, but y'all gotta, like, conclude.
my third is probably Catherine of Aragon.
Catherine of Aragon.
Yeah, it's probably my third.
My third's probably Catherine. Or no, Catherine Parr. Yeah, Catherine Parr. I just
Okay,
don't
yeah.
think she had like enough drama between her and Henry.
But I like how peaceful it was.
But like I also like the
managed
drama.
to- yeah, I know.
Okay.
But like out of all of the drama, she's like, I'm
Can
watch
we just
me in this
can we
drama,
just
and
all
then didn't
agree
do
that
it.
Jane Seymour's last? Because I really she like
Yeah.
wasn't even married for him for that long.
For sure. Like
Like
that's
she
for
gave
sure
she
last.
did what Henry wanted. She gave birth to a son. Like, are you kidding me?
Lame.
You
Lame
couldn't
as
even
hell.
be interesting about
And
it.
then you couldn't live through it.
She
No.
succeeded.
You couldn't even like create
No.
drama about like you died during childbirth. I mean, like I guess that's acceptable, but like you really gave him a son. Like, come on, Edward. No, stop. And she named her son Edward. Are you kidding me?
What's wrong with Edward?
There's like 5 already.
There's already no.
I mean, I don't even know
no.
if she named it Edward.
There's no.
She could have named it like something special, like Hubert, like really Edward. Anyways, sorry, that's like a personal attack on her, but I just don't think she deserves the spot, like, besides last. She was just not in. Oh, no. I forgot about Catherine Howard.
Oh, no.
She gets fourth. She's not. She, like,
still fourth.
did some nasty stuff. She gets fourth. And who's the one we're missing?
Anna Clues can be fifth.
Fifth.
Give me fifth.
We're done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we just won't agree with second and third place.
Yeah.
Okay.
But everything else is the same.
So first is
Anna Boleyn. Anne
Second.
Boleyn. I said Anna.
second and third are Catherine.
Second,
Parr,
third, Catherine
of
Parr,
Aragon.
and Catherine of Aragon. Between those
Yeah.
two.
Fourth.
The Catherines.
Fourth is
The Catherines.
Fourth is
What's her face?
what's your
Go back.
Anne of Cleves is fifth.
Anna Clues is fifth, and
We're confused.
Yeah, because you went from the top and then started from the end of it.
Yeah.
why did we do that?
I don't know.
Catherine Aragon, Anne Boleyn, Jane Seymour.
Jane, thank
I
you.
thought Jane Seymour was last. I thought we didn't like her.
Oh yeah, we
What's
did like her. Jane
Yeah,
Seymour.
she's last.
Okay.
Shoot.
It's fourth.
Whoever is left is fourth.
We need to know the
There's
name.
6. Like, God. Did we talk about all the Catherines already? All the Catherines.
There's 3 Catherines.
Did we mention all of them?
Well, there's second and third, which are 2 Catherines.
We need
Catherine
all
Howard.
of the names. Did
Catherine Howard.
we mention her already?
Anne Boleyn, the 2 Catherines, first 2 Catherines.
Jane.
Jane was last.
Yeah, but I'm just so
Yeah,
we have
Jane,
them.
Catherine Howard, Anne of Cleves. Wait, why are you?
You guys have completely different fingers up.
Okay, wait. Anne Boleyn, the 2 Catherines that matter.
Jane.
Catherine Parr.
Oh, duh.
You already said Catherine Parr. She was second/third place.
Shoot! Oh no!
Wait.
I hate
Yeah.
you.
Oh, crap.
It was Anne Boleyn, Catherine Parr, Catherine Aragon. This is my whole education right here. This is the only reason I'm going to know these names. It's because I have to say it 3 times.
Yeah. Okay, wait, no.
Do you know
Anne
which one
Boleyn
they're
was
missing?
first. Okay,
Yes,
we're gonna
yes.
do this straight. Anna Boleyn was first.
Okay.
Catherine Aragon and Catherine Parr, between us two, are like
We have
kind
them
of switched.
But
And
they're
then we
second
had-
and third, for sure.
We had Anne of Cleves because she was a badass and stayed alive and like
Yes.
still stayed in court.
Yes.
Catherine Howard because she's kind of interesting but not really.
Yes.
And then Jane Seymour.
Yeah.
And then we're done.
Okay.
There we go.
Yay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, you guys heard the bell ring, which means that lunch is over. And actually, I am out of the studio by myself in post, just recording this for you. But this is the segment of our show where each week we play a segment of a famous TV show, song, theme song of a movie, etc. And we have our listeners guess. So last week's intro was from, was this clip. And so that was the theme song from iZombie, which is one of my fave shows starring Rose McIver. And this week's intro is from a TV show that guest starred Grant Gustin, The Flash, who you all know that I am such a fan of. So here you go. Alright, so thank you. This week's episode was executive produced and co-hosted by myself and Danielle. And this week we had Tina, our producer Tina, come in and work with her research and her information. So thank you so much for that. All of the music and info for any of our social media and sound effects are linked down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.